Welcome to MSUA Game Changers webcast, where we speak with satellite and mobile connectivity thought leaders about industry trends and share what you need to know about the future of mobile satellite communications. I'm your host, Roger Lanto, and I'm excited to introduce Vishal Patil, Senior Consultant at Novaspace. Novaspace has just released its in-flight connectivity forecast, seeing connected aircraft surpass 70,000 units by 2035. That's an amazing number, especially given the battle unfolding between legacy suppliers such as Hughes, SES, and Viasat, and our favorite disruptive LEO newcomer, SpaceX. But before we get into that, Vishal, tell me about your professional journey and where and when satellite technology became part of your life.
Yeah, hi Roger. Thank you so much for inviting me to your webcast. So for me, I have always been into aerospace industry, I would say, because I spent like 8+ years in the aviation sector when I was in India, and then I joined, or let's say, I started the space part of my professional journey as soon as I finished my aerospace MBA from Toulouse. And since then, I'm working in this space industry. It's been 9 years now, so yes, that's my in short aerospace professional journey.
Okay. So, why is in flight connectivity suddenly so important and interesting? Why do we care?
Well, I think it's a good question, because if you go a little bit in the history, then I mean, in-flight connectivity has been part of the long-term strategy for many of the airlines. To give you some short examples, some of the airlines, they are already on their fourth generation of in-flight connectivity. So you can estimate that they have been in the looking at IFC as one of their main pillars of their strategy for so many years. Uh, and if you look at the dynamism in the industry now, uh, like it has become very important for many of the airlines, especially when there is a demand from passengers who are used to being connected everywhere all the time. So they also expect being connected even at 35,000 feet, and that is what is also pushing airlines to think about IFC. And if you see many of the airlines, if you speak to your colleagues or if your family members, they are also choosing airlines based on IFC solution these days. So now airlines are pushed to think about IFC as a part of their strategy, even more than ever.
Yeah, I think I'm a little older than you, Vishal. I remember when they used to have a handset hanging in the you know, at the bulkhead or something, or even actually in some seats, um, there were handsets. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've come a long way, obviously. So SpaceX is clearly disrupting this market. What is the scope of SpaceX's impact, and how are rivals responding?
Definitely. I mean, SpaceX has been disrupting the market since its entry into the service, let's say mid 2022. Probably first couple of, or let's say first 1.5 years was something that where airlines were not very sure, because as we all understand, airlines operate on very thin profit margins. So making a big commitment, which is like nobody was completely aware of, like what Starlink can provide and what they can get out of it. There was a lag, even especially when you compare it with other satcom markets, like even maritime or ground consumer broadband market. There was a lag for aviation of, like, let's say 1.5 years, but then after that we saw like a massive adoption of Starlink, when people actually could see, feel, experience what Starlink is able to do. And I mean, as of I think June, if you see, they have already managed to secure 41 airlines, around maybe 6 to 7 thousand aircraft under their belt, which testifies the adoption and the capabilities of Starlink in the IFC market. So they have been disrupting market to a large extent.
So, how are the incumbents, the legacy players, responding to this challenge?
Legacy players, two ways they're responding to it. One, as we have seen in the past few years, there have been many mergers and acquisitions happening, um especially Viasat, Inmarsat, or if you see ACS Intersat quite recently. So this is, I think, the way on a broader scale to deal with the disruption that Starlink is bringing in. At the same time, what we are also seeing is vertical integration, where once only satellite capacity management company or satellite operating company is now venturing into service provider landscape as well, where they could have better control over the capacity usage, the capacity supply, and as well as the cost uh, parts of it. So there are many ways, I would say more than one ways that legacy players are responding to it. Another way also is to integrating Leo component into their offer. So if you see Intelsat sign contract with OneWeb, Eutelsat OneWeb for IFC. Now we see, like let's say Viasat has signed contract with Telesat in the future for their services. So in general, for legacy players, they have understood, I think, one thing, that Leo will be part of the ecosystem, and it will eventually be a larger piece of pie that Leo will take. So they need to kind of incorporate Leo component in their offer if they want to be in the business. So I think, uh, as I said, there are more than one ways that legacy players are responding to it.
And more recently, I've come to understand that Panasonic avionics essentially plays the role that I'm more familiar with terrestrially, which is as an MVNO, um, reselling services from others. And I suspect T-Mobile is doing the same with Lufthansa, serving as kind of an MVNO. Um, what's your view on that MVNO kind of function for in-flight connectivity? Is that going to change in a SpaceX world, post SpaceX world?
I think it's a good question, because this is one of the strategies that was used as a differentiator by many service providers, let's say. But when you look at Starlink, if you look at what they are offering, uh, essentially, I don't know if you have flown on aircraft which is equipped with Starlink, but the experience is basically seamless. Whatever the friction points were there in the previous models of IFC, they have at least tried to remove all of them. So basically, you go on to an aircraft, it's get to get, you connect, you don't have to bring out your wallet, your credit card, nothing. You just connect to Wi-Fi. That's it. You start streaming, and it's kind of, I would say, frictionless experience. So the role of other service providers, whether it is MVNO or not, I think that it is going to change. They have to rethink about their strategies.
Based on what you just said, I suspect I have not yet been on a flight with Starlink
I
because
would I would highly encourage, because if you have flown on other, you will see the difference.
yeah,
Um, um,
there's always friction, whatever,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how is usage of in-flight connectivity evolving in terms of volume and application types?
Uh, so in terms of volumes, I would say, I would like to compare it with what we are used to get. through terrestrial networks. So basically, we were used to having 2G, then 3G, then 4G, 4G LTE, now 5G. And when you're not in the coverage of 5G, when you have to go to 4G, you start feeling that it's slow. It takes a lot of time. So it's kind of, we are used to higher speeds, and this is what even we have seen. Because we have been monitoring this market for so many years now, so this is what we have seen. As there was MSS L band services before, which was a limited bandwidth. Then the market shifted to KU band, Ka band. Now it's NGSO with low latency, uh, immense bandwidth. All those changes, every time, they were very welcomed by passengers. The volume of capacity or data usage has increased massively because the applications are already there. uh, if you have to think about like cabin connectivity, passengers, they need capacity because, I mean, full HD video streaming, if it is possible, then why not? People would love to have that, use Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever services they want to use, and if it is made possible, they will use them. So the bandwidth demand is there, usage is there, usage is increasing because of the availability of massive bandwidth. That was the same case even when Viasat launched their services. When we saw tens of Mbps per passenger, passengers were happy to use it, use for streaming or browsing or social media. We have video embedded everywhere, almost everywhere. So the data consumption is increasing. And if I have to talk about the applications, then because of the availability of higher pipe, or let's say larger pipe, there are new applications which are being developed, even on the operational side. We have been discussing with this with different stakeholders of the industry, and I can tell you that there are companies which are looking specifically into different applications which can be useful for airlines to be operationally efficient and kind of get benefited or monetize having IFC on board.
I, uh, I think that's great until the moment where my seatmate is suddenly on a Zoom call during a flight. If we get to that point, I might pull the ripcord and jump off the airplane. But
No, but honestly speaking, I mean, many of the airlines, they have this policy in place that even if it is possible to have video calls, but you need to kind of understand it's a public space, or let's say there are other people around you, and any of your activity should not be disturbing them. So many of the airlines have put in place some rules and regulations to avoid that. Otherwise, even for me, I cannot imagine 400 people speaking on Zoom call or WhatsApp video. I mean, it will be a mess.
yeah, yeah, things could get ugly. But on the brighter side, what does the revenue picture look like?
If I have to kind of think about, or if I have to give you some sort of picture about revenues, what we are seeing and what I just mentioned, that the bandwidth usage is increasing massively, or it will increase uh, because of the possibility of having much more bandwidth available. So it will increase massively, and for both, I mean, for commercial as well as for business aviation. What we have also seen is business aviation market specifically, which was in a way dominated by MSS or L band services in the past. By having access to Starlink services, I think they are the ones who are getting benefited to a larger extent. I'm not saying that, uh, I mean, every single business aviation aircraft or general aviation aircraft will be equipped with Starlink, because I mean, of course, the the operational requirements are not that high for many of them. Those are smaller, like 2, 4, 6, 8-seater planes, not flying more than 45 minutes, 1 hour. They might not require Starlink, and as against the cost of equipping a single aircraft is not that cheap, I would say. So in that sense, the revenue part for services, it will increase for sure. And at the same time, for operator side, or let's say satellite operator side, it is expected to increase massively, and most of it, let's say by the end of a decade, uh, if I'm not wrong, then more than 80-85% of total revenues generated will be through NGSO based services. So NGSO will be a major share.
And what is your perception of how it's kind of being positioned as part of the user experience? Obviously Delta, if you're a SkyMiles member, you automatically have free access to Wi-Fi. Um, I'm a United Flyer. I pay every time, and I paid even more just on a flight a couple of weeks ago on Lufthansa. Um, uh, are the airlines, going to follow Delta's lead, more of them, and make it free? Although obviously there are other ways to capture the revenue, but as a customer experience value proposition, what do you think?
Uh, for me as a passenger, if I have to think about me as a passenger, I would love to have frictionless experience. Just go sit on my seat, just connect it to in-flight connectivity. I don't have to remove my wallet, my credit card, not paying anything because I'm already paying for the tickets and everything. So for me, ideal case situation or scenario is the frictionless connectivity availability. And more so ever, it has to be something like, at least, let's say, if it is not streaming great, then at least, I mean, I should be able to use, let's say, social media or web browsing to a certain extent. If you see what has been happening in the industry over last few years, like let's say couple of years, or like let's say 3 years, many of the airlines are offering some sort of free connectivity, whether it is freemium, like free for premium customers, or only messaging free, and then you have to pay for browsing and streaming great IFC. But eventually, I think as a passenger demands free connectivity, even at 35,000 feet, there will be a strong push towards free for all connectivity. And because I would say Starlink has taken this step to ask airlines to offer it for free for their all their passengers and streaming grade capacity, it has also put others under pressure. Because I mean, as a passenger, if one airline is offering it for free, I would prefer to go for that airline than others. So there will be a peer pressure as well. So
So what
definitely free for all streaming grade services. This is what I'm looking forward to as a standard service.
what airline do you have most of your status on?
Normally, because I'm based in Paris, I mean, I fly most of the times on Air France, and I'm happy that Air France has started to equip their aircraft with Starlink. I had opportunity to fly on Starlink equipped aircraft a couple of times through Air France, and yeah, I mean, that's why I'm telling you. I mean, the experience is different. You can feel the difference, basically.
So is there any way to find out what kind of connectivity my next flight will have?
Of course, of course. I mean, honestly speaking, all those airlines which are equipping their aircraft with Starlink, they are very much vocal about it. So they do offer some sort of communication if you're flying on Starlink equipped aircraft. Either you get a message or email or some sort of notification that your aircraft is equipped with Starlink. Uh, but if you need to know, then definitely we have been monitoring the market, and we have been doing our study, our homework throughout the year. Who is equipping aircraft with which kind of connectivity? So yeah, I mean it's not a secret anymore. If you're
But you know
flying.
what I mean. I want to make it a criteria when I'm searching for available flights.
Ah, okay. So I mean, it's a good question. I think it's a bit early for that, because many of the airlines are now have started equipping their fleet with Starlink. Some of them are very well progressed. The airlines which started like a couple of years back, they are well progressed in their fleet, equipping their fleet with Starlink. But as I mentioned, 40 plus airlines, 7,000 plus aircraft under contract. In next 2 to 3 years, there is a high possibility that you are flying on an Starlink equipped aircraft, than another type of connectivity.
And how reliable is that in-flight connectivity? What's your view on that?
uh, I would say it has evolved to a great extent over the past few years. uh, Before, it used to be patchy or not like great experience all the time, depending on where you are flying and what agreements service providers are having with what kind of service satellite operators. But now, this is what I believe: whichever NGSO operator it is, essentially, when you look at NGSO constellation, it guarantees one thing, that you're going to get consistent experience throughout the globe. So as long as you are under same like provider, capacity provider, you're going to get the consistent experience. So before, it used to be kind of contracted through different satellite operators for different satellites, so you might get some patchy uh, network, or your experience might vary. But now, because of NGSOs, one thing will change, is that there you will have a consistent coverage wherever you're flying, if the country is authorized to provide that.
I'm counting on you.
Of course,
I have your word.
of course, rest assured for that. Yes.
Okay. Where can I find out more about your detailed findings and forecast?
Yes, so we have recently published our report on in-flight connectivity. It is available on our digital platform, and definitely, if someone is interested in knowing more about in-flight connectivity and the forecast, or what you know where the future is going to be, then they can get in touch with Novaspace. They can get in touch with me at Vishal.Patil at Nova.Space, and I will be happy to help, happy to have a call, happy to have a chat with them, because this industry is something very close to my heart, and I thoroughly enjoy tracking it. So definitely.
Well, thank you for taking some time with us here, Vishal. I want to thank the Mobile Satellite Users Association for hosting these sessions. You can learn more about the MSUA at msua.org. You can learn how to get our weekly newsletter that gives you updates on everything that's happening in the industry and shares information about upcoming events. And you can also find out how to become a member. We look forward to seeing you next time on MSUA's Game Changers webcast. And Vishal, thanks again.
Thank you so much, Roger.